It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 114. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, February 2nd, 2025. A great day to podcast about video games and be alive. So welcome to the show. I hope you are doing great out there in the world, whatever and whenever you are listening to this. Hope everything's going great, and hopefully you're going to enjoy this video game talk that I have for you today. But the first order of business I have to ask of you is to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. I am trying to establish a streaming schedule and having a little bit of failure at doing that. So I've been throwing some days out there. I think I'm just going to stick to one day. And if I can start doing one day a week, that is progress. So every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those times around there could be flexible. I could start a little bit early. I could start a little bit late kind of thing. But every Thursday, catch me on twitch.tv/DepLewisShow, playing some video games and talking to you out there. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at DepLewisShow is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And then for today's show, as always, we're going to have three sections. The first section will be what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section, which is the middle section, but it's not mid in quality, is what is going on around the video game world. So news, releases, rumors, speculation, sales, all sorts of things, like all sorts of those type of things is in the middle section of the show. So get all the video game information you need in your brain. And the third and final section is a break from video games, the Miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So usually get into the worldwide world of sports, and today will be no different. So welcome to the show. Hope you're doing great out there in the world. The start of a new month. It's February, and it's also Groundhog's Day. So the groundhog, Mr. Poxitani Phil, woke up and said, hey, there's going to be more winter. So that is the breaking news out there if you trust in groundhogs for your weather advice. But it's going to be cold out there according to Phil, and I just wanted to bring that report to you here this morning as well. So, welcome to February, and welcome to some more winter according to the groundhog. So really do hope you're doing good out there. It is kind of crazy. A month has already gone by, and February is going to be a good month for video games. There's some good stuff coming out, and we will be talking about it all month and beyond. So that's the plan. But let's get into first. Let me think if there's any other worldwide announcements I got for you. Any other really important Dep Lewis Show things I need to tell you. That's about it. Thank you for being here. Follow the stream on twitch.tv/DepLewisShow every Thursday. I think that is a simple enough request for myself to do, and I need to make it happen. So Thursday nights streaming with myself. Please check me out on Twitch. All right, so let's get into what I've been playing. So what have I been playing? The main game I've been playing this week has been Spyro the Dragon. That is part of the Spyro Reignited trilogy. I'm playing this on PlayStation 4, and I am having fun with this. Started this game a few times, as I do with most games, and I think I am now farther than I have ever been. I think I'm in the third world, making some progress there. This game is super enjoyable. It's a great podcast game. It's great to listen to with the sound on as well, but it's a good one for if you're focusing on something else a little bit and playing this alongside that. I think it's pretty perfect because it's just pretty light platforming. Some of it can be, you have to use your brain a little bit and maybe retry a couple times, but nothing too intensive that I've felt quite yet, but extremely fun. Spyro as a character is so cool. I like that he's kind of like sassy or whatever. I didn't really expect that from Spyro, but that is kind of a throwback to the 90s era a little bit, so that makes sense, and he's just a really cool character. I enjoy the little quips he says and the interactions with the other dragons, and he's really fun to control too, so it's an extremely cool game. Something I wanted to play for a long time. Spyro I've always thought is cool. I've just never really got a chance to play it, so I've been excited to do so. So hopefully I will be playing some more Spyro the Dragon. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. I like the mix of the combat. I like there's only a few things you can do. You can either run into people full steam ahead, or you can hit them with the fire. Different enemies respond to different attacks or don't respond to different attacks. So there's a little bit of a puzzle element there, along with the platforming and moving around the world. So just extremely fun and just a great feeling game to play. So Spyro the Dragon, super cool. Something else I've been playing that is in the same vein of feeling great to play is Contra. I've been playing this. I bought the collection on Switch. It was on sale. I think it's still on sale right now for like $3.99 on the PlayStation Store at least. I bought this on Switch, so check it out if you want to play some Contra. It has a lot of Contra games in one package, and I'm playing the NES version. I think a lot of people tout that as one of the best Contra versions, and I decided to start there. But it's extremely fun. I can hardly get past the first area. I've only done it a couple of times, and I've been dying a lot at the last kind of boss of the first area, so it's been pretty tough, but it's extremely fun. Another game that has some great platforming. I've been on a little bit of a retro kick, so some of these games are just going to be more difficult than modern games, or not hold your hand as much, or blah 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 blah, that whole argument. But they really are. This is a pretty tough game, so it's going to take a while to get actually good at it, and it's been a fun thing to kind of poke at and prod and try to get a little bit better and learn the smallest portion of the level, because I can only get past a small portion of the level. So it's been really, really fun. So I've been playing this on the Switch a bit for a retro blast, and I think I'll continue to play this as something to just try to get a little bit better out and see how far I can progress. I think there was a common cheat code you can use, and I think you're still able to do it in this current version, I believe. I'm not sure, but I kind of want to do it where you get a bunch of lives at the beginning, because that will definitely help me explore this game. But it's been fun doing it with the amount of lives they give you right from the beginning. So it's been really fun. All right, so I've been playing some Contra, and that's been very, very enjoyable. So something else I've been playing this week that I just kind of played yesterday a little bit for a while, and kind of realized I'm close to finishing. That's Gears of War 4. So I'm continuing a save file here. I'm almost to the end of chapter 4. It looks like there's 5 chapters from a quick search earlier, so I've been making some progress here. It's been a really fun game. Gears 1, 2, and 3 are games I've completed and really enjoy, and I've played Gears 1 and 2 multiple times, so this is a franchise I really like, just haven't played much of the recent stuff. So a little bit of a goal here to complete Gears of War 4 and then get into Gears of War 5, which I do own a physical disc of, which is nice. So been having some fun here, shooting some people, shooting some crazy enemies, making some crazy things happen out there, doing some roadie runs, hiding behind some cover, avoiding doing melee, and looking for the sniper whenever I can. It's my favorite Gears of War weapon, is the sniper, and having a lot of fun with the Gears of War 4. So hopefully I'll continue some of that, and I haven't played on my Xbox in a bit, so it's been nice to pick that controller back up. And the last thing I've been playing, in this random mix of video games for a week, I've been playing some Pokemon Pearl on the DS. So this is something I picked up a couple weeks ago. I picked the water-type Piplup to be my starting Pokemon, and I've actually made a little bit of progress. I've now met Dawn, who is my what's the word, liaison to the Pokemon world. She's helping me out, showing me some things, showing me the ropes, and I think I'm about to be on my own in just a bit, so that's pretty nice. So I've been playing through some of the tutorial stuff pretty lackadaisically, if that's how you pronounce that word, and been having some fun. It's been nice to be playing on the DS. It still looks really, really great. A little bit of a retro blast, maybe not quite retro, but almost on the edge there, and it's been really fun to play. And I enjoy Pokemon, and I don't play it that often, so I need to change that up a little bit. So that's what I've been doing. So I've been playing some Pokemon Pearl, and getting back into the Pokemon world. So that's what I've been playing this week: Spyro the Dragon, Contra, Gears of War 4, and Pokemon Pearl. I've been playing a little bit of each of those and having a lot of fun with all of them. So for this podcast, so we're talking about this first section. This is what I've been playing, what are my gaming plans, and I've been saying this whole month of January that it's going to be the year of the backlog. It's going to be the year of the retro game, trying to make it a year of something. And I think I've finally determined with the groundhog waking up this morning, I think I've woken up to what this year needs to be, and I think it's going to be the year of no direction. So maybe I won't say that every week like I've been doing with the past years of like year of survival horror and the year of the RPG, but the year of no direction. I'm not going to have any direction here on what I'm trying to play, because I just need to play some games. I don't really need to have a rhyme or reason. I think I am going to focus on playing some older games, because there isn't really too much on the horizon that I'm like dying to play that's coming out this year. So, and I have some things in the backlog I'd like to complete. So I think I'm going to have the year of no direction and see what I can get to with that. So it seems like I'm going to be trying to, I want to say no direction, probably focus on some older games, leave it open. I'd like to complete some games as the main mission. So that is definitely true. And I'll keep you up to date either way. So I just want to make that announcement, is the year of no direction for my gaming plan. So it's just going to be a great year of video game playing either way, and you can, join me for my video game journey here in this first section of the show. So that's the update. Year of no direction. what else do I want to say? I was talking about the backlog in retro games and definitely into some retro games. I picked up a few retro consoles recently, and my lessons there have been, if you have a modern TV, you need to think of a way to hook up your retro consoles in a smart fashion. And I think one of those ways could be by buying a retro Tink. I think that's something I have on my wish list at this point. And I may want to pick one up sooner or later. I really don't know, but it's something I'm interested in, trying to get these consoles to look more serviceable on a modern TV. So I think that is a big thing to think about. If you want to just go pick up an old console, you need to really consider how you're going to hook it up. And there's a million different suggestions and advice and actually, I guess, like options out there of ways to hook it up. So it can be a little bit overwhelming, but it's definitely something to do a bit of research. Basically, it boils down to it's going to cost you a little more money to get into what you're trying to do. And you want to be smart if you're spending some money on spending it the right way on some type of a device. So I think I want to buy a retro Tink, see how that works, and then kind of take my retro console journey from there is the plan. But one thing I've kind of discovered in this little bit of a journey down memory lane, there's a lot of ways to play these modern games on current consoles. So that's a really nice and very convenient way too. I'm talking about Spyro. I'm playing that trilogy. There's 3 of those. That game's very inexpensive and you can play it on modern consoles and it looks and runs really great. Contra, another thing. I got that game for $3 digitally and it runs great and plays great and is Contra. So there's a lot of great stuff out there to play. So I think that's just I think that is going to be the focus, but we're going to have the year of no direction. Maybe I'll even finish a Zelda game in there. I think that's a big challenge I'm going to have on this show. I don't want to talk about it all the time, but if you listen to the show, I need to complete a Zelda game at one point, and that's going to be a monumental day for the Dep Lewis Show when a Zelda game gets completed. So that's the update on me. That's what I've been playing. It's going to be the year of no direction on my video gaming, and we're going to really focus on the video game world, which I like to do in the midsection of the show, where I bring you all the best video game news you need to know. And that is what we're going to do after this quick break. So if you need to go take a quick break, go do so, but come back for the midsection after this music. You don't want to miss it. I'm going to tell you about everything going on with the video game world after this. Welcome back to the midsection of the best show you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show, episode 114. This is where I tell you about what's going on around the video game world, everything you need to know. So the first thing I want to tell you about is an upcoming stream of Capcom, a Capcom Spotlight stream that'll be taking place on February 4th. So that's in 2 days. If you're listening right now in real time, it's happening at 2 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to be around 20 minutes long, and then it'll be followed by a Monster Hunter Wilds showcase, which that comes out at the end of this month, and that's going to be 15 minutes long. So the featured titles in this Capcom Spotlight stream are going to be Monster Hunter Wilds, Onimusha Way of the Sword, Capcom Fighting Collection 2, and Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classic. So this is something I have the potential to do a talkover of and post to YouTube and Patreon. So that's something I've done now twice. I've done a Nintendo talkover and I've done a Xbox Developer Direct talkover and been having some fun doing that, recording of waiting to watch these and record my reaction and then post them online. So that's been fun to do. So possibly I will do that with the Capcom Spotlight stream. It's something worth checking out either way. And I'll probably be talking about it some next week on the Dep Lewis Show. So Capcom Spotlight stream happening on February 4th, 2025. So that's the first bit of news. The second bit of news is PlayStation has announced a CEO change. So this has been... So Sony Interactive Entertainment has announced that Hideki Nishino would be the sole CEO of the video game company. So this is following less than a year of serving as CEO alongside Herman Hulst. So at that time, a year ago, the two were appointed as dual successors to former PlayStation chief Jim Ryan. Nishino was overseeing business and platform operations, and Hulst was heading up the studio and development side. So they made a change a year ago. Jim Ryan stepped away. I guess he retired. I don't know what happened. I don't remember completely, but Jim Ryan was a longtime CEO. And then they appointed two CEOs. So if anyone's ever watched The Office, the American version, where Michael and Jim both are the bosses, you know how that kind of doesn't work all the time. So that's just a humorous display of how that can go. But it does seem like a tough challenge of having two CEOs handling different facets of the business. I don't know. I think most of the time, I think most companies run with one, but I don't really know. But either way, there's a CEO change at PlayStation, and Hideki Nishino is the sole CEO of the video game company. So previously, he was overseeing the business side, and Hulst was heading up the studio side. So I guess PlayStation has had a little bit of trouble with their studio side. So maybe Nishino is going to be the right person to get them on complete track. But Sony and PlayStation are having some great success out there in the world. All right, what else is going on with the video games? Baldur's Gate 3 is a great video game. It has a final major patch, patch 8, which is upcoming for the official release, but is available now on all platforms for stress testing. So you can go start stress testing the final major patch, patch 8 for Baldur's Gate 3. If you don't know what Baldur's Gate 3 is, it is the story-rich, party-based RPG set in the universe of Dungeons and Dragons, where your choices shape a tale of fellowship and betrayal, survival and sacrifice, and the lure of absolute power. The initial release of this game was August 3rd, 2023, and was Game of the Year for many, many outlets, and still considered a great, outstanding, classic, wonderful video game by a lot of people. So the final major patch coming is really, really cool. They keep adding stuff to this game all along the way, and I think it was a great game from the jump as well. But this final major patch, patch 8, will include crossplay, which has been long awaited because this game has co-op functionality, so that's pretty cool. You can play with your friends on opposite platforms. They're also adding Xbox Series S split screen, 12 new subclasses, photo mode, new abilities, and more. The full patch notes are available on their Steam page if you'd like to go read those. So there's some more information there. No date on when to expect the final version of patch 8 other than later this year. And then after patch 8, Larian Studios will be moving on from the series to focus on something outside of Dungeons and Dragons after this final patch. So a little tip of the cap to them at the end of this, and they will be moving on to do some other greatness. So very, very cool stuff and a major success of a video game, Baldur's Gate 3. All right. So there has been a video game that's been released, something I don't know too much about, but I've been hearing some pretty good things, and that is this Sniper Elite Resistance is out and available now. It released on January 28th for PS5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. It's developed and published by Rebellion Developments. It will cost you $49.99 US, so not quite a full price game, but still expensive, offering a unparalleled sniping mechanics, stealth, and tactical third-person combat. Sniper Elite Resistance turns the attention of the award-winning series towards a hidden war far from the front lines, deep within the heart of occupied France. The first Sniper Elite, released in 2005, I hear these games are very fun. It kind of focuses a shooter down to just being a sniper and does it in some interesting ways, and I don't really know too much about it, but I always hear that kind of take. I always hear pretty positive from the few people I do hear mention this game. So Sniper Elite Resistance is out now, and I think it's a pretty good version if you're a fan of that series. So pretty cool, Sniper Elite Resistance. So whenever there's a video game release, there's another video game that goes away, and the next one of those is Multiverses. And the announcement here is Multiverses, a game I've never tried and don't know really too much about besides just hearing about it across the ether. This will shut down on May 30th, 2025 is the news here. Multiverses is shutting down. Offline play will continue to be available after this date. The developer of this is Player First Games, published by Warner Brothers Games. This game released May 28th, 2024, so it's going to make it not quite a year. And it released for PS5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. In Multiverses, you could battle it out in intense 2v2 matches, combine an ever-expanding roster of new and familiar characters to create the ultimate fighting team. Each character features its own customizable perk loadout to change the way you play and synergize with your teammates. Up against Batman and Shaggy, try using Bugs Bunny and Arya Stark. Play out your fantasy matchups in a fun co-op or head-to-head fight for victory. So, now my thoughts on this are, mostly sounds pretty cool in this game. Not something I ever really tried or had any inclination to try or seek out, but seems like a cool concept. I just don't know how many of these games people can play, and everybody's probably still playing Smash Brothers. So trying to make a Smash Brothers clone is a very difficult thing, in my opinion. Even if you have cool characters and some good gameplay, it's just a really hard thing to overcome. People love Smash Brothers, and trying to emulate that is just tough. So I don't know. This is a little bit down the live service track that things have been going. People haven't been, fans of jumping on some of these new hero shooters and things like that. So it's really tough to get one of these games to be a long-lasting game when you have other stuff out there that people are already playing. So it's hard to kind of divert people's attention from things that are, other live service games that are competing with it. So I think it's just a little bit of an effect of that. And, it's never great to see a video game shut down. It's not a sad thing. I'm sure there's people that enjoy playing this video game, and I'm sure it doesn't seem like a trash video game to me. So, but the news here is Multiverses is shutting down on May 30th, 2025. If you want to play some Multiverses, you better get in there now. You got a couple months to play if you're listening to this podcast in real time. So, All right, what else is going on? Mass Effect 5 is a video game that's being made. EA has announced it is restructuring some things, though. Between Dragon Age and Mass Effect Studio BioWare, they are moving a number of developers onto other projects within EA and focusing entirely on its upcoming Mass Effect game going forward. So, a general manager at BioWare in a blog post wrote that the studio has taken this opportunity between full development cycles to reimagine how we work at BioWare. So the new Mass Effect in question, this one has been announced 4 years ago. Mass Effect 1 was from 2007, Mass Effect 2 2010, Mass Effect 3 2012, and then Andromeda, which was a very divisive game to say the least. A lot of people just didn't like Andromeda, was released in 2017. So it's a big effort to release a Mass Effect game these days. I think they have an uphill battle to climb here. To climb here, because I think it's going to be a tough offering. These games were really, really good back in the day. Some of the best video games of all time kind of thing. And then they've had a little bit of a decline, and Andromeda was kind of universally panned now back thinking about it. And the ending of Mass Effect 3 was a big ordeal back in the day. They released the game, and people didn't like the ending, so they actually changed the ending. So a little bit of indecisiveness there, and a little bit of a loss of trust, I think, from the general video game public. So I think Mass Effect really needs to show and prove, and I think it's a really tough thing. And I guess Dragon Age Veilguard had some success, but now they're moving some of those resources over to Mass Effect, and I don't really know what to think. I have some apprehension here if this game is going to be good, but this one will definitely be on my radar when it's going to be released, because I am a Mass Effect fan for sure, and have some hope to go back and play the Mass Effects. I have that trilogy on Xbox, so that's something I would like to go back. I think I beat 1 and 2, and never quite beat 3, or I played a lot of 1 and 2. I played a lot of them. So Mass Effect 5, getting some more additional internal resources allocated to the video game development is the news there. All right, more kind of games from 2006, 2007 era news. Gears of War is allegedly, it's a rumor, it's a speculation, it's not anything confirmed, but Gears of War Trilogy collection could be announced soon. There's also rumors that this could be coming to PS5 day one as well, so this could be on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation is the rumor. And they're also talking about cross-play between platforms, so I think that's a very cool thing. And I've been playing Gears of War 4, like I said, this week. I'm a Gears 1, 2, and 3 fan. I've actually completed those games, and they're some of my favorite games of all time. And the multiplayer was really, really fun back in the day, so having a resurgence of some Gears multiplayer could be cool, and having cross-play between platforms, that could really build the player base up and get a resurgence for Gears of War. I know they have the new E-Day game coming out sometime. I don't think that's this year, maybe next year. And that's something I'd like to be prepared to play. And I don't really have a need to play these first 3 games, but I would like to complete 4 and 5 before E-Day comes out. And then if you want to get on the Gears of War train, it looks like you can possibly do so on the PS5, maybe sooner than later. So the Xbox games coming to other platforms is a real thing. And this one's just a rumor, but it's a real thing in this next bit of news, because I want to tell you about Forza Horizon 5. So, the Forza Horizon 5, this game came out a couple years ago. It was definitely high on my Game of the Year list. I think it was number 2 a couple years ago on my Game of the Year list. I really love the Forza series. I liked both the motorsport and the Horizon sides of the Forza franchise. But the news here is Forza Horizon 5, this spring, the Horizon Festival arrives on PlayStation 5, so pretty insane news there. No official release date yet, but just this spring is what they've said. And it's going to go, we've had the split between Forza and Gran Turismo, and now Forza's going to join Gran Turismo on its platform, so pretty awesome stuff. And Forza is something I've long loved. I've never tried a Gran Turismo game, and I would like to at some point, but I don't know, this could be the Forza takeover in my opinion, because Forza is a really, really amazing game. They do the sim and arcade stuff really perfectly, and this Forza Horizon 5 is just such an excellent version. This is going to be the first big Xbox exclusive to hit PS5, so that is a monumental thing. It's seemingly coming before that Gears of War trilogy. And in this game, if you don't know, you can explore the ever-evolving world landscapes of Mexico with limitless driving action and hundreds of the world's greatest cars. So you can wishlist this now on PlayStation Store. Pretty wild to see, and a great option for PlayStation fans if you want to play some Forza Horizon. It's an outstanding video game. So what else is going on around the video game world? So last week we talked about the surprise announcement of Ninja Gaiden Black 2, which is a remaster of Ninja Gaiden 2 from the Xbox 360. And if you don't know, in that game you take on the role of Ryu Hayabusa, a ninja who has inherited the legendary dragon sword and takes on battles across the world in this graphic remaster of the popular high-speed ninja action title that returns after 15 years. So the news here, I don't know, I guess this is confirmed, but there is a physical release coming for PlayStation 5 and no word on an Xbox physical release. And it doesn't seem like the Xbox physical release is expected, but maybe based upon the sales of the PlayStation 5 version or the, I don't know, a call for it online or something. I don't know, a groundswell of support for an Xbox release. I don't really know, but it seems like this game is just going to get a physical release on the PlayStation 5. So it's a Game Pass game, and it's a digital purchase for $49.99 US, and there is a PlayStation physical release of Ninja Gaiden Black 2 coming at some point. So this could be a thing we see as the future goes on. We see some games releasing without a physical release at all initially, like Baldur's Gate 3 we mentioned earlier, and then we talked about, and then Alan Wake 2 is another one that is going to release. So these games might, release digitally, have physical copies a little bit later down the road in more limited quantities. And then we might even see some games choose to not release on both platforms, kind of like this is seemingly doing. So just something to follow as a trend in the video game world. But Ninja Gaiden Black 2 getting a physical release for PlayStation 5. Another game in the same vein of action, like third-person action with swords, Rise of the Ronin. That was a game that came out on PlayStation 5 March of last year, is going to get a Steam release. So we're talking about a lot of crossover here these days. And that's going to be a lot of news I'm going to be reporting on the show, I guess, is this game's coming to this platform, and this game's now going to be on this platform. It's like the Wild West here of exclusives, or, not having exclusives. So Rise of the Ronin is getting a Steam release March 10th, 2025. In this game, you can embark on an epic journey across war-torn 19th century Japan in this open-world action RPG from Team Ninja, the veteran studio behind Nioh and Ninja Gaiden. So we're getting that Assassin's Creed game in March. We're getting Rise of the Ronin. You have Ninja Gaiden Black 2. We have 2 Ninja Gaiden games coming out this year. So this fans of this style of game are really going to be feasting this year on a lot of good options. So Rise of the Ronin, an open world RPG set in the Bakumatsu period, where players take on the role of a Ronin forging their own destiny. The game features multiple possible endings, allowing players to choose which faction to support, such as the anti-shogunate faction, pro-shogunate faction, or Western forces, which significantly alters the story's outcome. So Rise of the Ronin definitely is a visually cool looking game, not something I've tried, but is coming to Steam on March 10th, 2025. That's March 10th. What other news do I have for you? A video game that released sort of recently, just at the end of last year, that is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. I think this game has been getting some great reviews out there. I haven't really heard a bad thing about this game at all. It's getting a physical edition, and it's up for pre-order now at the Atari store as one option. It looks like the physical edition for this is going to be released for PS5 and Switch. There's going to be a standard and deluxe version, and this will also be available at other retailers as well. So just putting that on your radar if you want a physical edition of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. Maybe start looking out there, opening your eyes. $34.99 US for the standard version, and the deluxe version would be $49.99 US. So it looks like this physical version is only up for pre-order right now at the Atari store, but it looks like more retailers to come. The digital release was December 10th, 2024, so the end of last year. PS5 for PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. Developer and publisher is Digital Eclipse, and the back of the box talk on this game is the team faces off against a robotic reincarnation of the Power Rangers' longtime nemesis. Robo Rita has conjured a portal to send herself back in time so she can finally vanquish the Power Rangers by forming an alliance with her younger self. So, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they're getting a physical release, and that is the news there. So, another video game, something I've been interested in recently because last year was the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show, and something I'm still into is a game called Skies of Arcadia. And the news here is Sega has trademarked Skies of Arcadia Eternal in Japan, so could possibly be getting a remaster or a new game in the franchise, but it seems like all signs may be pointing to a remaster. Skies of Arcadia is a turn-based RPG originally released for Dreamcast October of 2000, and then an enhanced GameCube version titled Skies of Arcadia Legends, or Eternal Arcadia Legends, followed on December 26, 2002. So The game has never been ported or remastered for newer platforms. Players control a young air pirate and his friends as they attempt to stop I think it's Valuan, maybe the Valuan Empire from reviving ancient weapons with the potential to destroy the world. The developer of the original was Overworks, and Sega is the publisher of this game, so that's why they are out there trademarking some things for a potential remaster or a new release. So something pretty cool, and something that I mentioned, talking about in the first section about playing these old games on modern TVs is something to contend with or spend some money with. And then so it's nice when you get an option to have a remastered version on newer platforms. So maybe that's going to be the case here. And it seems like a trend with a lot of games. So there's multiple ways to get them. So you don't have to feel like you have to have a retro console, but it's just, another option out there in the world to play some of these great games. So Skies of Arcadia Eternal has been trademarked in Japan. So that's something I want to keep on my radar and put on yours as well. All right, something else that's very cool, something I don't know a ton about, but the Video Game History Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving, celebrating, and teaching the history of video games, which is a very cool mission statement type of thing. And the reason I know about Video Game History Foundation is from the previous co-director, Kelsey Lewin, who's a cool internet person. She's a video game store owner. She's on MinMax Content is how I learned about her, and she's really great on podcast. She has Animal Crossing books, so just a really cool person out there in the video game world to me, and that's Kelsey Lewin. So, gives her some props for putting the Video Game History Foundation on the map and on the radar a little bit. I think that's definitely true. And the news here with the Video Game History Foundation is they are launching early access to its digital archive of video game history research materials. So, a really valiant effort and a really cool thing from a historical point of view. And it's available now at library.gamehistory.org. It's free for anyone to access. So that is library.gamehistory.org. It's free to access to anywhere in the world. It's going to have things like development documents, behind-the-scenes content, rare video game publications and catalogs, magazines, memorabilia, and more. So there's a lot of talk about how most of the video games that have been created are no longer accessible or even exist. So there's a big effort being done here, especially by the Video Game History Foundation, to try to archive and have a way to keep these games alive for future generations and things like that. So it's an important thing. That's why some people are really passionate about physical media and physical video games and things like that. It gives you an option to have the thing for a long time and possibly pass it on. But then you have things. It's just a lot of things to consider. You have old hardware not working anymore, but there's things being released nowadays like the analog products where you can play old software on brand new hardware. So there's just more, and there's going to be more of that as time goes on. So all sorts of efforts to keep old games alive, and I think it's a very valiant, important thing as someone who especially is getting into. I've had video games my whole life and been playing a lot of them, and there's a lot that I missed, and there's a lot I would like to go back to and possibly still have access to as I grow older. So definitely just a really cool thing to mention, and the Video Game History Foundation is doing some great work out there. And so go check out the library.gamehistory.org. Free to access anywhere in the world. Free for anyone to access anywhere in the world. So very, very cool. All right, 2 more little bits of video game news and information for you. One of my favorite games of all time and a Game of the Year winner for the Dep Lewis Show, Splatoon 3, has a next Splatfest upcoming in February. So it's actually next weekend, Super Bowl weekend if you're listening in real time. February 7th through the 9th, there's going to be the next Splatfest in Splatoon 3. It starts at 4 p.m. Pacific time this upcoming Friday, I guess that's what it is. And get ready to double dip chocolate fans. What is your favorite chocolate? Do you like dark chocolate, milk chocolate, or white chocolate? So I think it's a very, very good question because I do like some chocolate. And I think this is a little bit of a hard one. I think if I had to ultimately pick, I would go milk, dark, then white. But I fluctuate from time to time on liking different ones. And it kind of depends on the different type of chocolate that you're having. Maybe you want a dark chocolate mix in there. Or maybe you're just in the mood for some white chocolate. But I think white chocolate would definitely be the third for me. And it would be some type of battle between dark chocolate and milk chocolate. Maybe you got to throw some caramel in there and see what's going on with that. And I don't know, maybe put them in a cookie or something like that. Just some really good stuff going on there with the chocolate. So it's a great question being asked by Splatoon 3 in the upcoming Splatfest this upcoming weekend if you're listening real time. So before the Super Bowl, you can rep your favorite chocolate, and then I think it wraps up around 4 p.m. on Sunday, on Super Bowl Sunday. So perfect time to put down the controller, watch the Super Bowl, maybe go eat some chocolate and just have a great time. The last thing I want to mention here is Nintendo Switch 2 rumors. Something I'm going to keep a category each week up until the release of the Nintendo Switch, and then we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 from there on out. But just something I really want to focus on and talk about. But there really hasn't been anything too great of rumors in the past week. So I think the next thing, we're just looking forward to April 2nd as the next announcement from Nintendo, and we're going to get a lot of rumors and speculation up until then. I think there's been talks of a Nintendo Direct before then. There's also been some rumors of a Sony State of Play coming into the upcoming week. So, one thing I know is you can come to the Dep Lewis Show every week and I will be talking about it, but it seems like we could be getting stuff in the upcoming week. We're definitely going to be getting some information in the upcoming months. So just, stay tuned to the Dep Lewis Show here if you want to stay up to date with what's going on, because I'm definitely following this stuff like a hawk. And no Nintendo Switch 2 rumors from this week. I'm trying to rack my brain if there's anything out there. The Nintendo Switch 2 experience is going to be going on sometime soon. That's something you had to sign up for. I think that 1,900 is the estimate of Nintendo account holders are going to receive tickets to check out the console. They're going to get a specific date and time slot, and they're actually going to get to put their hands on the console and play it for a bit of time. So that'll bring some type of information. I think they'll have to sign NDAs, but I think the point of this would be to get the word out there in some way of how the console is going to work. So something just to keep on your radar. And the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming at some point, so I got to get ready. Hopefully they're going to be having some great software options at launch, and that's my real big hope. So I'll keep you up to date with the Nintendo Switch rumors and hopefully some official announcements, pretty soon. So that's the plan here. So that's everything I have for you this week for video game news and information. Just to recap what we talked about today. We talked about the upcoming Capcom Spotlight stream this upcoming week, so maybe I'll do a talk over for that and probably talk about some of the information from that next week on this show. PlayStation has had a CEO change. Baldur's Gate 3, you can stress test patch 8 right now. Sniper Elite Resistance is available right now as a video game. Multiverses is shutting down on May 30th of 2025. Mass Effect 5 is getting some additional internal resources allocated to it. There are rumors of Gears of War Trilogy Collection being announced soon and possibly coming to PlayStation 5 on day one. Forza Horizon 5 has been announced that it's coming to PlayStation 5 in the spring of this year, 2025. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is getting a physical release for PlayStation 5. Rise of Ronin is coming to Steam in March. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind is getting a physical release for PS5 and Switch. Skies of Arcadia possibly has a remaster coming or a new game in the franchise. Sega's been doing some trademarking over there. The Video Game History Foundation has launched its early access to its digital video game archive, available now at library.gamehistory.org. Please go check that out. Splatoon 3 has an upcoming Splatfest this upcoming weekend, and then Nintendo Switch 2 rumors are just swirling out there in the world. Nothing too amazing to point to this week, but I'm going to keep you up to date with Nintendo Switch 2 rumors always. So that's everything from the midsection this week. That's everything you need to know about the video game world. And please come back next week for another episode of Dep Lewis Show. Well, it's not wrapping up the show, but another midsection of the show where I'm going to tell you about all the best video game news and information that you need to know. So just want to reiterate that. But that's going to wrap up this midsection, and we're going to come back to the final section of the show. The show is not over. We have one more section, the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So I want to keep you up to date with my sports fandom and tell you what's going on around the worldwide world of sports. We had an insane NBA trade that took place last night I want to talk about a little bit, and that is the plan. So go take one final quick break, but don't go away. Come back for the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 114, after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 114, the Miscellaneous Talk section. And I want to talk about the worldwide world of sports and tell you about what's going on with my favorite team. So, starting with the NFL, the Carolina Panthers, there's nothing really to mention here. It's on to 2025 for the Panthers. They have the 8th overall pick in the upcoming draft. And the only thing I really want them to do over the offseason is to pay J.C. Horn. Give him the extendo he deserves. Make him a Carolina Panther for the next, whatever it is, 4 or 5 years or how many ever it needs to be, and drop the bag of money off at his doorstep. J.C. Horn needs an extension with the Carolina Panthers, and he needs it ASAP. And as his representative here on this podcast, I would like the Panthers to open up their wallets, their pocketbooks, their bank accounts, the Brinks truck, everything, back it up, beep, 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 bring it up to his doorstep, and thank him for his services and continued services as a Carolina Panther. But that is the update there. All we have left with the NFL is the Super Bowl this upcoming week. The Chiefs versus the Eagles. The Chiefs are favored, and I need the Chiefs to win for some FanDuel betting purposes. And please gamble responsibly out there, and I hope the Chiefs can come through. So I'll be talking about that next week, about being excited about the game and needing a Chiefs win. So hopefully we can get some additional funds in in my FanDuel accounts. We will see. But that's all the NFL news out there, really. The NBA world, there's been a shocking trade overnight, but I want to tell you about what's going on with my favorite teams. And there's been a lot of losing in the past week. So actually, I think every game. All right, so the Charlotte Hornets, one of my teams I follow. I'm a halfway Charlotte Hornets fan because I live in North Carolina now. Last Monday versus the Lakers, the Hornets lost 107 to 112. Wednesday versus Brooklyn, the Hornets lost 83 to 104. Friday versus the Clippers, the Hornets lost 104 to 112. Saturday versus Denver, the Hornets lost 104 to 107. Next week they play the Wizards, the Bucks, the Spurs, and the Pistons. And then my favorite team, the Atlanta Hawks. Last Monday, the Hawks lost to the T-Wolves 92 to 100. Tuesday against Houston, the Hawks lost 96 to 100. Thursday at Cleveland, the Hawks lost 115 to 137. Saturday at Indiana, the Hawks lost 127 to 132. Next week, the Hawks have the Spurs, the Bucks, and the Wizards. So a lot of crossover there on teams next week that are being played, and a lot of crossover there on my favorite teams losing a whole lot. So if you don't know how this section of this show normally goes, I'm a Panthers fan, a Hornets, and a Hawks fan, and there are some good examples of how my teams have been doing recently. And that's, just really, really crazy to see that many losses last week from the Hornets and the Hawks. And with this trade that happened overnight, I think everyone on both of these rosters should be worried. I think everyone in the NBA should be worried, minus maybe Jason Tatum, Jokic, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I'm trying to think of anybody else. But as of last night, some breaking news happening in the group chat. And then I was seeing this in the middle of the night, waking up, seeing all the reactions and everything, and pretty unbelievable stuff. So last night, Saturday night, it was late in the evening. I think it was around 10 p.m., like Eastern time. Maybe a little bit later, the news broke that Luka Doncic from the Mavericks has been traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. So the Lakers also get Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris, and Dallas also gets Max Christie and the Lakers' 2029 first-round pick. So just one of the most shocking NBA trades of all time. This seems like a bonehead move to me for the Mavericks. It seems like a jackpot hit for the Lakers. It brings up the questions here of why did they make this trade? Why did they choose the Lakers to make this trade with? Why did they choose this trade package to get back? And why did they not shop the trade around the league? It doesn't seem like they shopped the trade around to put Luka kind of out there on the open market to see what they could get. They could have got some crazy, insane things. We had the Kevin Durant trade not too long ago. We had the Paul George one from a bit ago. Even the Miles Bridges got numerous first round picks to gain his services. So Luka Doncic, a 25-year-old player who has been to the Western Conference Finals. He's been to the NBA Finals. He is a generational talent, one of the best players in the league, and he is still very young and has had much success, and they're going to continue to have a ton of success, and is going to have all the eyes pointed on him in the Lakers, and the Lakers somehow managed to pull off getting another star to their team. So just insane for the Lakers. Congratulations to them. And what the heck are the Mavericks doing? The rumors are that they were scared to pay Luka. He has a year and a half left on his deal, and he's due the Supermax contract, which is 5 years, $350 million, I believe it is. And they are concerned with his conditioning. So, they'd like him to do a few more push-ups. A 25-year-old who's taken his team to the NBA Finals and been to the Western Conference Finals. They want him to do a few more push-ups and eat some more broccoli as their gripe with him. It's just the most ridiculous cop-out. And what's the word? It's like, passing the buck or passing the blame onto something that's just completely ridiculous. You should pay Luka the Supermax contract. And mostly every team in the league would do so. So it's just really kind of insane to see. And then the GM comes out after and says that defense wins championships. That's why they decided to trade for AD. And the addition of AD is not a bad thing, but I just don't think these are comparable assets and packages at this point in any form or facet. And it's just insane. And the Mavs still do have a nice starting lineup. They really do. They have a good team. But it's just, it seems like a huge error trading Luka Doncic for anything. And then this package is a strange package to get back. It's weird. There have been, if you were to open this up on across the league, there would have been, I think you could have gotten almost anything. Like really, from a lot of teams, you could have gotten almost anything you asked for. So it's just weird that this deal was done. It makes it seem like they were really just done with Luka. Maybe there's some internal things where he said, "Hey, I'm not re-signing." One of the things I listened to Bill Simmons last night in the middle of the night. He dropped a emergency podcast. He was saying, maybe Luka has told them in a not so subtle way, "Hey, I'm trying to go to the Lakers in a year and a half. I'm not signing back with you guys. You guys are, BSing on this money, or I just want to go to the Lakers in general." It's just a weird thing. But then there's also reports that Luka was shocked by this. LeBron was shocked by this. People across the league were shocked by this. So there's more to come with the backstory that happened here. But Luka has been traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. So insane. Is LeBron going to stay around the Lakers? That's another question that's being brought up. Is, are the Lakers done dealing? Are they going to try to get LeBron somewhere else, send him to Golden State, and just really build around Luka? Are they going to give Luka his extension right away? How's the money stuff work? And it's insane. So congratulations to the Lakers getting Luka Doncic. And the Mavericks fans, I send my condolences out to you. I would not wish this upon my worst sports. I don't have sports enemies, but anybody in sports, it's just a sad feeling. And I've had I don't know if I've had one quite this level, but the Braves haven't paid some players. The Panthers aren't really signing free agents and stuff like that, but the Braves have mainly been the ones who not pay some homegrown guys, and they go off to do some great things still. But this one is just crazy other levels of insanity. It really is nuts. It's a really, really crazy thing. One of the best assets in the entire league, one of the top 5 assets for sure. You could argue him up and up on that list. And, in a trade, whoever gets the best piece is usually deemed the winner. And Luke is the best piece of this trade. Anthony Davis is a great player. He's won a championship. He's 31 years old. He's a big man. He does have an injury history as well, but he is a great defensive player. The Lakers are going to need a big man. They're going to be missing Anthony Davis's presence for sure, but having the opportunity to get Luka Doncic on your team is something you don't pass up, and the Lakers didn't pass it up, and that is the right move here. So sorry to the Mavs fans out there in the world. It really is a head scratcher. I don't know how you're going to cope with this. I would be angry at my team for a while. I probably would be just disinterested in my team for a while, and I would want to see if they're making some noise in the playoffs. I would maybe check back in, but that's me speaking, probably not even all the way true. I follow my teams pretty closely, but this would be a hard one to deal with, a hard pill to swallow, and it'd be hard to just go along with watching them and supporting them so outright. I don't know. It's just a really, really crazy one. And that I don't know. I think it's a terrible move. I think it's a horrible move. I think it's really not smart. I think it's, like I said, boneheaded at the beginning. And I can't believe the Lakers got that done. So, shout out to Luka, one of my favorite players to watch. One of the best players in the league. That's a guaranteed fact. And one of the best players in the world. That's a guaranteed fact. And he is on a new team for a package that doesn't seem like equal value. So, go Lakers. All right, the last bit of news to talk about is my favorite sport, Major League Baseball. The Atlanta Braves are my favorite team and something I am excited to watch on March 27th, 2025, the first day of the regular season for the Atlanta Braves at the Padres. Spring training starts in 20 days from now, so that's exciting stuff. The weather is getting a little bit warmer just in my part of the world over here in North Carolina, so that's been nice too. A little bit of, even though Puxatawny Phil says more winter is coming, there's a little bit of a drop of spring out there going on with some of the warm weather sneaking back in, so that's been nice. And with the warm weather comes baseball, and that's the best time of the year when baseball is going on, and I can't wait. And no news for the Braves, just besides getting exciting. Fantasy baseball group chats been kicking back up and talking about trying to plan some of that stuff out. So I love playing fantasy baseball and can't wait for the season to start. So just reserving this spot for the great Atlanta Braves here. And the other MLB news. Hyesung Kim goes to Tampa Bay Rays, and then Max Scherzer goes to the Blue Jays on a 1-year, $15.5 million contract for the 40-year-old right-handed pitcher. I didn't write down the terms of the Tampa Bay Rays deal for Kim, but his contract was probably pretty good. I think the Braves were a little bit in the market for him, or some articles were talking about that, of trying to obtain his services, but the Rays have added him. I think the Rays are a good team. I think the Blue Jays have done some smart things this offseason as well, and I'm just ready for the baseball season to start in general. Maybe Dylan Cease will go to the Braves. That's one of my only more off-season hopes. And I can't really think of anything else there. But, go sports. Really, really crazy stuff. Crazy stuff with the Lakers and Mavs trade. That's going to be a historical trade landmark right there in the world, and going to be really something interesting to follow how that happens. So really, really crazy overnight news there. And you're probably kind of still processing that out there in the world as I am. So that's everything for the miscellaneous talk section today. I talked about all my favorite teams, the Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets, and the Atlanta Hawks, so hopefully we'll get a win next week. And then we talked about the NBA in general, the big Luka AD trade. We talked about the Braves. Nothing really there to report besides being excited for the season coming up in March. And we talked about some MLB free agency stuff. So that's going to wrap up the final section of the show. And that's also just going to wrap up the entire episode of 114 of the Dep Lewis Show. So I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. Check me out there on Thursday nights around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States time zone. If you'd like to watch me play some video games on Thursday night on Twitch. And then if you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available. If you'd like to subscribe monthly, also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime for any amount if you'd like to support the show. So thank you for listening. If you're listening today in real time, it's Sunday without football. It's a sad thing. We're going to have one more football game of NFL for the year, the Super Bowl next weekend. So next weekend's going to be a Super Bowl extravaganza of an episode. Going to have all the best video game news for you. Definitely going to have some sports takes for you. And I'm going to tell you about what I've been playing over here on the Year of No Direction for my video game playing. I'm going to play whatever the heck I want out there and not worry about it. I'm just going to hope to complete some video games, and that's the plan. And I hope you plan to come back next week to listen to another episode of Dep Lewis Show. I hope you have a great week out there in the world. I hope you have a good week at your job. I hope you possibly go on vacation. I hope you find a $100 bill in the street. I hope you win the lottery. I hope you get a raise. I hope you get to do something fun. I hope you get to go to a sports game. And I hope you just really have a great week out there in the world. Whatever you're doing, whenever you're listening to this, and just thank you for being a listener. And I will talk to you next time on the Dep Lewis Show. See you next week.